Hi everyone. I just wanted to make a rant about Dark Souls and honor. Specifically that there is a separation between being nice and being honorable. Starting in Dark Souls 1, or possibly in Demon Souls, where gestures could be cancelled, bowing before a duel was a sign of trust, a sort of message to the other player that they would not be playing in a certain manner, usually strafing for lazy backstabs. This of course lost meaning over time with a bigger player base, and especially in later titles where gestures could be cancelled. Players always want to hold their opponents up to a community standard of honor, but between all the players, the standard for what is honorable varies greatly. I personally view bowing before a duel to be a waste of time, 20 to 30 seconds for each fight, especially since I don't know if my opponent is deserving of honor until after I've fought them once or twice. As such, I generally use what many in Dark Souls 1 did, just a quick L1 wiggle, to signify that I'm ready. In this invasion, I end up invading a host with a Sunbro and Blue Summon already fighting an invader. Unfortunately, the invader seems to have been here a while, was probably running low on estus, and I was only able to pull the attention of the host. Luckily, I do get an Aldrich right when I needed it most, saving me from the host spell spam, stacking with the blue spell spam. Even better, the Aldrich picked his target, stuck to it, so I didn't have to worry about it, and later kept friendly damage minimal. Now here I go for a turn and burn, which becomes R1 spam after I see the host roll away from a failed parry. The Sunbro, desperately trying to R1 with a slower weapon, ends up eating 4 hits and losing nearly all of his health. I naturally end up chasing the Sunbro to finish him off, and at the same time, Aldrich ends up killing the Blue Summon. Shortly afterwards, I see a message for another invader, and I'm feeling that this invasion is soon coming to an end, even if this host only ends up running. Unfortunately, this new invader doesn't assess the situation and sees it as though 2 invaders are ganking a solo host. Having not seen the recently killed summons, he fails to realize this host has a dried finger active. Even worse, he seems to think that the host is a new player and decides to go after the Aldrich out of pity. This Red, having failed to realize that this player had summons, and is using at least a partially optimized build with an offhand rapier, something most new players would never do, effectively ends up extending this invasion by another 2 minutes, all because he has a misplaced sense of honor. If you're an invader looking for honor, what you're really looking for is the arena. Buy the DLC and go to it. Stop invading. If you're invading, people will heal, people will gank, people will stall until they can resummon. People will almost never show real honor. When someone does show honor, then it's just a bonfire duel where one person has 30% less health, but probably more experience. A solo host who has used a dried finger might legitimately be a solo host, being attacked by multiple invaders at once. However, those type of people use the dried finger knowing the risk, and more importantly, expecting the challenge. If you don't want to gank such a host yourself, just wait to the side and wait a turn, or simply use your black crystal. You can still be nice during an invasion, but try to assess the situation before making an unreversible decision. Unless you really want to fight by yourself a solo host who is constantly backing up for turn and burns while healing and generally stalling to get a new summon. Keep in mind that the act of invading is generally dishonorable. You are entering someone's world, generally unwelcome. Now I end up re-invading this host, and because I'm feeling a bit salty from the last invasion, more at the red than the host, I decide to play the long game myself. Seeing an Aldrich outnumbered, I figure if he needs help, he'll back up into the level. When he does, it allows me to use his retreat to draw out the host to a point where he doesn't suspect me at all, allowing me to go for a super easy and super dishonorable sneaky backstab. Nailing the wake up, the invasion is over almost immediately. Teamwork! Yay! bonus clip time. While sorting through clips, I actually found I had invaded this guy twice earlier in the day at Central Irithyll with my SL35 plus 4 character. The build earlier in the video was my SL60 plus 6 character. Links to both builds should be in the description below. There's not much to say about these two clips, except that my build is optimized for a large selection of poison, bleed, frostbite, and a few other auxiliary or backup weapons, using only the base 11 luck that the warrior class starts with. My damage is notably nerfed, but I've been able to proc status effects surprisingly well, especially on opponents with light resistances. Now I also want to mention that although this host had a dry finger active and was summoning phantoms, that it seemed like he was summoning random players. Despite the backpedaling and spell spam, he was a fun and challenging opponent each time I fought him, and I wouldn't mind seeing him again, unlike the red. Finally, before this video ends, I wanted to mention that I've recently created a second channel, which I am uploading invasion-related content to daily, along with occasional post-Twitch live streams of notable blind playthroughs of games, such as Kingsfield, From Software's very first game. These daily invasion videos are only lightly edited clips without commentary, unless you read the descriptions or my tweets on Twitter, with sped up moments usually being the only editing. You can expect a variety of clip types, many with and many without crits, some with swaps, some just because of a funny moment, and maybe an occasional failure. If you're interested in checking that out, you can find a link at the end of the video and in the description.